Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve. Welcome to Born to Achieve podcast, the show that inspires and motivates you to unlock your full potential and achieve your goals. With your host, Warren Andrew Pinder. Let's get started on this week's episode of Born to Achieve. Born to Achieve.
I am born to achieve greatness, and so are you. On this episode of the Born to Achieve Greatness podcast, we have as a special guest Dr. Bramante Artist. He's a true triple threat when it comes to empowering performers to overcome psychological roadblocks and achieve success. As a veteran talent agent with over 20 years of securing major roles for actors, he has unparalleled insights into the entertainment industry challenges. However, Bramante's real superpower is his unique fusion of this experience with PhD in psychology and certifications in hypnosis and NLP. This rare combination allows him to provide your audience with a credible expert perspective and mindset and psychological of peak performances for artists. Bramante doesn't just understand the pressures of the acting world. He can prescribe proven psychological strategies to help performers break through for their self-doubt, imposter syndrome, fear of success, and self-sabotaging patterns. Welcome, Bramante.
Thank you so much, Warren and Dominique, for having me here. I'm happy to be here and join you on this great podcast that you have.
Excellent, excellent. As I said today, we would want to focus on what you have to say about psychology of peak performance and unlocking your full creative potential.
Mm-hmm.
Help us to understand and just let us know how you do what you do in that space.
Sure. Well, to really unlock your peak potential and to really maximize your peak performance, we have to start working with any limiting beliefs that you currently have or that currently exist in your world. Now, a lot of that depends upon the environment you were raised in, your parenting, the child rearing that you were a part of. So the first step is to kind of start to rewire those limiting beliefs and change those limiting beliefs. And that's where like NLP comes in, because it's a great technique to sort of work.
Help us now. NLP. Tell the listening audience.
NLP stands for neuro-linguistic programming, for sure.
Right.
And what that refers to, it was born out in the mid to late 70s. And it was kind of like a mechanism to really help other people model and inspire greatness. So what initially the founders of NLP decided they wanted to emulate some of the greatest therapists of their time. So
right.
They started looking at like modeling them, like the physicality of the therapist, and then the thought patterns, modeling those to become a great therapist themselves. And this became a snowballing effect of like leading to like leadership, to sales, to education. By taking some of the successful people in our field, how can we model that in ourselves? How can we change our mind and also use our language to change our mind, in a sense, to change our belief system, to change our behavior, to change our approach in life? And so it's kind of like a beginning field in that area. So it works well with complements like psychotherapy by, again, working to change even the language that we use. So one way to really maximize our peak performance is to monitor and watch the language we use around, not only to our outwardly when we communicate with other people, but also our self-talk is extremely important.
Right.
Our self-talk is valuable. So we need to treat ourselves well, too. So, like, for example, I work with a lot of artists. I work with actors mainly. So one thing to really work with is to get the idea of the starving artist out of your vocabulary. Is if you're an actor and you're an artist, you're not starving. You want to be thriving and having full potential. So just a simple reframe of, rather than I'm a starving artist, I'm a thriving artist, I'm a professional artist, I'm a triumphant artist, just a change of simple linguistic vocabulary.
Right.
That's the linguistic programming. So if we can change our linguistics around the way we approach the world, we'll notice that our world can change. So it's sort of like changing ourselves, and then our internal world, and then our outward world, external world will change. So change has to come from within. So the first thing, if we really want to maximize like peak potential, we have to change the mindset. We have to go internally,
Right.
because if we don't change what's going on internally, it's not going to matter. The external world's never going to change until we change our internal world,
Got you.
our internal landscape. So,
Got you. Dr. Bramante, William Shakespeare says, the world is a stage. We're merely actors. So correlate this to persons, right? All that
yeah.
you're describing, letting them know that it will help them. What you're explaining, the mindset change and grasping what you're saying in
Yeah.
reference to their day-to-day living.
Well, I mean, and that Shakespeare quote is extremely accurate, because we are actors in a sense. Every moment, we're playing a different character. Like we could be the parent in the morning, the teacher in the afternoon, the salesperson, or the employee, or the manager, or even the partner, the friend, the caregiver. We're playing these different roles. We're still our core being, but we're still playing these different roles, or personas, or masks, so to speak, throughout the day. Now, we want to be unified, ideally, hopefully, to where we're consistent and the different roles we play. But the thing is to maximize the roles that we do play. So this is where we have to work with, like, eliminating, again, the limiting beliefs of the self-sabotaging behaviors. So that's where I've really been studying a lot in the past, couple decades, is self-sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
And that will block someone from achieving greatness. And again, the only way you're going to unlock peak performance is by eliminating self-sabotage. The first step to do that is to become aware that it's happening. Because most people, especially if you're operating kind of like an automatic pilot or in a space of automation, you're not going to realize consciously that you are self-sabotaging.
Thank you for joining today's podcast. We'll be right back.
Achieve Man, written by Warren Andrew Pinder and Dominique Bradford. This book passionately focuses on the challenges women have been made to go through and how to overcome them. In some cultures, being a woman disadvantages the girl child. This book carefully exposes the hurdles you might face. This masterpiece is the ultimate self-help guide for women. It reveals your true purpose and identity. Get your copy today. Available from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
Let's talk, because self-sabotage is harmful, right? And is a deterrent from a lot of us achieving the success that we're destined to do. So let's just give us some insight on that a bit.
Sure. Well, again, the reason why it's so harmful and sneaky is we don't realize you're doing it. It's like procrastination is a major form of self-sabotage. Yeah, there may be listeners out here that will say, I have this goal or that goal or this aspiration, or I want to do this, and yet they're not doing it. It's like, well, next week, or I have to wait till I get more training, or I have to wait till tomorrow to do that. And the harmful, the realization of that is there'll never be a right time if you keep with that mentality. So the important thing really to address that is to take action immediately. So make a commitment. This is where accountability is extremely important. Hold them in the accountability group, or have a friend or a partner who can hold you accountable, who can say, okay, you said you're going to do this. Okay, by when? When are you going to do this? Next week?
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a huge task, something small, a first step. They're famous. There's a famous saying, the journey of 1,000 miles, 10,000 miles begins with one step.
One step.
So take that one step and start, creating a deadline a week, 2 days from now, 3 days from now, and put it on your calendar and make it a realistic event. Okay, so today I'm going to make that post, or, today I'm going to send an email that I need to send out. The first step to get it snowballing. And then once that happens, okay, what's the next step, and the next step, and the next step? But the important thing is to take action, because most of the time we're either being passive or we're reacting to the world around us. And what we see a lot of times when people mostly living their life in reaction. So they'll get up. They'll, be stressed out to get to work. They power through work. They're stressed out. They come home, stressed about the traffic coming home, make their dinner for their family or their partner or themselves and go to bed. And it's like rinse and repeat the next day. Same thing. And weeks, months, years go by and it's like they're unfulfilled. And yet we kind of are surprised to, well, you're unhappy? Well, yeah, I'm reacting. So start taking small changes. If you want your life to change, you have to make the changes. And as human beings, we're wired for comfort. We like to be comfortable. Comfort is the biggest addiction of them all. So we like to stay comfortable in situations. And so there's that, unfortunately. It's like, okay, well, I'm comfortable here. I don't want to change here. And it's terrifying to change. The only thing about life, the constant life guarantee is change. Everything's going to change at some point. And are we comfortable enough is going to determine about how we handle things and how we look at things.
How do we prepare for that change? How do we prepare our minds? We speak of mindset and change, like you said, change is inevitable. How do we prepare for that?
By taking actions, because rather than being passive to change, let's be active to change. So let's change from passive tone to active tone. So creating your own changes in a sense, so that when the change does happen, you're kind of riding the current rather than being dragged out by it, if you want to look at the metaphor of the ocean. So are we going to just be, swimming with the current, or are we going to be fighting and being dragged out to sea? So we say, let's work with the current, let's work with it. So start taking changes yourself. Like you're the one that initiates the change first before the life in the universe makes the change for you or dictates the change for you. So that would be the first thing, taking action, because the only way that your life is going to change is if you change or do something to change yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to be sitting and wishing and wishing and wishing for something to happen. But if you don't make it happen, or at least work towards making that happen, it's not. And, a lot of people talk about manifestation, about, live your, have this dream. And that's great. I'm not going to lie. There's a great place for that. But if you don't take action, like I could sit here and tell you, I want to make $1 million next year, but I'm not going to make $1 million by sitting on Zoom telling everyone I want to make $1 million. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to.
So the only way that's going to happen, or at least going after, is if I take daily actions to make that happen. And so that's one way to, again, I think the biggest technique to unlock peak performance is by taking actions. So, and again, another way to kind of really reach peak mindset is by surrounding yourself with positive minded people.
True.
Listening to podcasts like these on a daily basis, watching social media influencers and content that are uplifting, hanging around with uplifting friends and associates, because our mindset is also contagious. So if I'm around 5 or 10 people that are negative and gloomy, there's a good chance in a short amount of time, I'm going to become negative and gloomy.
Yeah.
That's why the whole statement of misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and it's difficult to do this. I get it, because sometimes the people that may not be the right fit for us might be the people closest to us, our family.
Yeah.
Sometimes our family may not be the best people to be around all the time, because they can be, they can drain our energy in a sense. So the important thing is to surround ourselves with positive people. Now, even if you cannot do physically, again, consume content online. There's so much available now in 2025 that you can really, if you want to unlock peak performance, so taking action and surrounding yourself with positive people, sometimes even people that are a little more successful than you are at the moment.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is if you're around 5 people that are very positive, or at least, that are always working hard to, raise their momentum, it's going to rub off on you. And now you're going to want to rub off your momentum too.
It's interesting, right? Mm-hmm. That we speak of the psychology of what you're describing. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times persons are at their lowest, at their weakest moment. What degree of being able to use your mind to act as if everything's okay? Like they say, persons don't need to know that you're eating corned beef, but in an environment of those who are eating steaks, that persons don't look at you in a particular way. I'm just saying, you get where I'm coming from,
Yeah.
so that will strengthen, because a lot of times you doubt yourself because of those around you. I can't do it. I'm looking at them and I'm seeing this. That's why I use the metaphor there of, someone eating corned beef versus someone eating steak. But I'm in the same, I have to work with them, or I want to be like them, or I want aspiring to be able to social with them, so forth. At that point that you are down, how am I going to get there? And that's the part where you speak of self-doubt. And that's where you're doubting yourself, because you're eating corned beef and they're eating steak. So tie that in first.
Yeah, well, the first step is to acknowledge, okay, this is where they are, this is where I'm at now. What do I need to do to get to where they're at? What are they doing that I'm not doing? What are they doing that I can do better or more of? And start looking at them and maybe even saying like, hey, 5-10 minutes, I have this idea. Can I run this by you? What do you think? And how did you get started? And you might be surprised that they were at one time eating corned beef, just like you are.
Yeah.
Corn quality of meat. So
Right.
find out, okay, now that, if you do find this out, okay, so how did you get from that, make that upgrade in your life? And how did that happen? So I think those are things that will help.
Definitely.
So it's by using it as a teachable moment, not to reflect. And this is where, when self-doubt comes in, I'm like, don't feel envious about that. Celebrate their success, celebrate their wins, even though it may feel a little bit demoralizing in the beginning when you're not having the quality of life they're having.
Exactly.
But it be, rather than aspire to that, say, okay, I'm going to set these goals. This is what they've been doing, and this is what I need to do now, and not to be envious. So this is also a lot of times, this is why I feel like social media is a double-edged sword, because a lot of people, social media is great to connect with other people, but at the same time, it can also be a vacuum where we're sitting there saying, well, their life is so great, mine isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Even for teenagers, for instance, and they've done a lot of studies that found this, that teenagers who spend a lot of time on Instagram or Facebook or social media are more likely to be depressed.
Right.
The more you spend, the higher the amount of depression is, because you start looking at your life saying, well, I live mediocre to this. Not realizing, in reality, most of these people on these posts are embellishing or exaggerating a little bit. So that may not be reality. The grass may not be greener on the other side.
Right.
I think it may be, but it's not. So the important thing, I really, and this goes with the popular saying, you should never compare yourself to other people. The only person you should compare yourself is to you. So every year, do a reflection, today, for instance, we're recording is June 27th. So where were you at in June 27th, 2024?
Yeah.
2023, and then so on and so forth. And that's the only thing you should be comparing yourself to, is where you...
Exactly. Your successes.
Yeah, your
growth. Got you.
And if you feel like you're in the same way, then it's time to do something. If you feel like, okay, I haven't really grown this year, okay, so now it's time to reflect and develop and refine my approach.
Definitely.
Now for a commercial break.
Achieve Men, written by Warren Andrew Pinder. In this book, you will learn the 7 steps to achieving your dreams and goals. Given the vision to share how the acronym of the word achieve can be used systematically in your day-to-day life. Each of us is given a unique gift from God. Get your copy today. Available in print, ebook, and audiobook from Amazon.
We now return to today's podcast.
Explain how the concept of the happy foul, written in your book, can help, like you said, you help artists with that. But how can that help our listening audiences?
Well, it's sort of like a form of gratitude journal. So I think that's important. So every day you kind of list things you're thankful for. And what the happy file kind of extends on the gratitude journal is not only do you list the things you're thankful for, but you also list all the good things, whether they're no matter what the size of it is. So an artist gets good feedback on a performance. You get a good performance review. A coworker or a customer or a client praises you and tells you did a great job. Or a student, if you're a teacher or minister or pastor, tells you, oh, this is a great sermon. This is a great class. You document that. And all these little things that are good, you document, and positive, you document. And so therefore, when you have these moments of self-doubt, which are a normal condition of human experience. So there's no way to say, I'm going to eliminate self-doubt permanently. That's not going to happen. But you can reduce it by saying, when self-doubt comes in, pull out your happy file, and it'll remind you that this is the purpose, this is my why, and this is what I intend to do.
I understand. And the fear of failure. That's like an elephant to a lot of persons, a big elephant staring right at them, ready to trample.
Absolutely. The fear of failure is definitely a major, I guess you could say, Achilles heel, or again, the elephant in the room.
Right.
The important thing is most of the time we fear failure, the outcome of failure, a lot worse than it really is, can be. So what happens very often is when we talk about limiting beliefs, we usually do three things. Number one, we distort. Number two, we generalize. Number three, we delete. And what that means is we distort. It's going to be the end of the world if I fail. And we said to ourselves, I failed at everything. And then we delete, we forget about all the good things that we have. So one of the things I like to do is reframe failure as a stepping stone for success, feedback. So even if you try this idea or you do this project or you start this presentation and it doesn't go maybe the direction you wanted to or as well as you thought it was going to be, what can you learn from that? Because now when you incorporate what you've learned from that previous mistake or that previous mishap or failure, what you want to call it, you're one step closer to greatness. You're one step closer to being the great thing it is. And
say that again, Dr. Bramante. That resonates. That resonates with me, and I want our audience to really grasp what you just said. Just break that down first.
Well, again, our failure, our missteps, our mishaps are really feedback and stepping stones for success. So again, every time that you may have made a mistake or have a bit of a setback, it is one step closer to being great or achieving greatness.
Exactly.
Things were yesterday. And again, most of the time when we have this experience, we blow it right out of proportion, like the outcome. Like, oh, this is going to be the end of the world. I'm finished. No one's going to like me. Everyone's going to see that. And I would say, it's almost 10 times worse in our mind than the reality of the situation. It's not so bad.
Yeah.
And people may not even realize, the audience may not even realize that you failed.
Yeah, that is profound. A lot of times, persons say, you'll get over it, or, that too shall pass. It's okay to say that, but the action, you have to respond to whatever that event that would have taken you to that failure point, that you're not accepting it as a loss, but, a springboard to do better the next time, it's,
of course. And we're human beings. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to simplify it, or overly simplify it and say, or minimize someone's feelings and saying, oh, they'll just get over it, but we'll process it and move on. Yeah. But also take credit for the fact that you took action and put yourself out there.
Right. And a lot of it has to do with that toxic high self-esteem or low self-esteem, and basically once you've built that self-esteem in purpose, knowing that what you're doing for a reason, failure to you is just a matter of an effort. Mm-hmm. If I fail, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. And that's what we're talking about. Trying to get persons to understand that you have to have your self-esteem to be so strong right, that is there that you're going to actually excel. One day you will achieve.
Absolutely. You will do that. You're one step closer because you've already started putting yourself out there.
Yes.
You already started moving towards that goal, and that should be celebrated. That should be accomplished in a sense.
Exactly. You speak about raising self-esteem in your book. Share with our audience. How can they raise their self-esteem?
Well, again, I would say number one, taking action on things.
Yes.
Things that's one thing, and also getting out of your surroundings. So a lot of times people sit in their house all the time, or just sit at home and do nothing, which is not going to be helpful at all. So take a walk, even if you have to go to a networking event, or go to a community event. Taking and just taking action. Number two, surrounding yourself with positive people.
Yeah,
that's the second thing. Thirdly, what can really help is by serving other people.
Yeah.
So, and this is one of the biggest things we need to realize, that a really strong way to build your self-esteem is by serving others, volunteering, doing charitable work. That will really raise your self-esteem by serving other people.
And how the world needs so much of volunteerism right now. You really need it. You really need it.
Yeah, one of my good friends is a psychotherapist, and that's in addition to treating obviously depression with therapy and cognitive behavioral therapy. He also asks people to volunteer a couple hours a week.
Great.
It's almost impossible to be down in the dumps when you're helping other people.
Great. Oh man, Dr. Bramante, it's been such a pleasure. Such a pleasure having you with us.
It's really funny speaking with the both of you.
Yes. To so share with our audience, your info, your handles, how they can follow you, your books,
Absolutely.
And continue to uplift them.
Well, that's what I love doing. So you can get my book, which is Rise Above the Script, Confronting Self-Doubt, Mastering Self-Sabotage for Performing Artists. Now, remember, the whole war of the stage, so even if you're not necessarily an actor, there's a lot of great information for you in this book. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, because it's available paper, ebook, and as well as audiobook. All audiobooks are sold. You can also find me on LinkedIn and Instagram. My LinkedIn is Albert Bramante. My Instagram is at Dr. Al Bramante. And also go to my website, albertbramante.com. I'd love to connect and continue this conversation.
Excellent. Well, before you go, right, I'm just tempted, right? On the world stage right now, who are the best actors?
The best actors are the ones living their true selves.
Excellent. That is great.
Not worrying about or living for other people. So people that are living their truth.
That is okay. There you go. There you go. With us today has been Dr. Albert Bramante, speaking to you about, helping yourself to raise your self-esteem and just overcoming the fears and the doubts, that you will become born to achieve greatness. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Dominique.
Excellent.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Born to Achieve. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and motivating. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and family. Stay focused on your goals, and we'll see you on the next episode of Born to Achieve.
Take advantage of this incredible opportunity. Sign up today and claim your free ebook at www.borntoachievegreatness.com. Follow us on Facebook at Achieve Movement Inc. Get your copy of Exploring Achieveland, A Journey to Realize Your Dreams, Motivational Stories of Kindness, Inspiring Stories for Kids on Amazon and Kindle.